I think first question, very important, is nowadays when you see the youth, the youngsters, not many of them are passionate about being volunteers. How do you make them, or how do you bring them onto volunteering?
What's your name?
Ishaq.
Ishaq. Where you work?
Islamic Relief.
Where?
Fund Development, South Africa.
So, which city?
Cape Town.
All right, brother Ishaq. Today, you want the volunteers to follow you. Is it right?
Of course.
Okay. Why? Who you are to let them to follow you?
Not to follow me, but
I mean to follow you in your organization, in your work.
Yes,
Why?
yes.
Why? Why they don't follow you?
because we want them to come on board and help us.
How can you attract? I'm asking you the question now. How can you attract a young man or young woman to come to you? What is the attractive point for them? You have to give them an attractive point so they can come closer to you. What will you tell them? First of all, they have to see the history of your organization. Is it credible or not? Is it an honest organization or not? Is it transparent or not? That's number one. Number two, they have to understand the program of the organization from its history. Number three, they have to look at you as an individual. Are you a good character or not? If you are good, you attract them. If you are not, you won't. The third point. The fourth point, what is the program for them? Are you just going to use them to distribute leaflets? To make data entry? To stand and collect funds from the mosques? What is exciting in your program? Number four, is your organization very serious about volunteers? What happened after I be a volunteer with you for 6 months or 1 year? What I am going to learn from you? Who is going to teach me? All these questions will happen because the first group of volunteers might come to you just with open heart. But when you don't answer all these questions, they will leave you and they will tell others not to come again because they're just going to use you to, what do you call it, to distribute leaflets or to be volunteer in a fundraising dinner, collecting fund or standing in front of a mosque or whatever you call it. So what's your program for the volunteers? You tell me.
So at the moment with the volunteers, we work many different, we have different programs for the volunteers, so we allow them to assist in the different departments. When we say different departments, we mean our marketing department, our fundraising department, and our programs department, and we give them an idea of basically how the different departments of the organization works, which allows them to see where they feel or where they fit better for themselves and what they enjoy most. So there's the data side where they can do data capturing. There's the fund development side where they assist with fund development events such as collecting funds at masjids or cake sales, or we try and make it more fun where we allow them to go forward and host their own events or host their own fundraisers. So it gives them the ability to develop a certain sense of responsibility by going out, getting sponsors, and basically hosting an event on their own. And then on our program side, we allow them to assist us, especially in the field when we go out for disaster response or when we go out on distribution. A lot of times when we do our orphan voucher handouts, we allow a lot of volunteers to come on board with us, so they actually get to see firsthand where the funds of Islamic Relief is being distributed and what is happening to the funds that they are fundraising for. So this actually helps us because what happens is when they go out and they host fundraisers for themselves, once the fundraiser is done, they'll supply us or they'll hand over the funds to us. After that, we also try and allow them to join our programs team so that they see in which way the funds are being used. So, for example, with the orphans or with the amper distribution, or our disaster response teams where we hand out blankets and waters and sometimes even food and stuff to disaster-stricken areas.
All right. In your opinion, what is the most attractive point that will make the volunteers to be with you all the time?
Being able to witness why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, to take them to the field of work.
The field of work.
That's why volunteers, if you use them mechanically, they will just come once or twice and leave you. But if you respect themselves as entities and you take with them to see the people who are, we call them the rights holders or the right holders, and see how the fund is impacting their life. This is number one. Number two, who among the organizations is speaking to the volunteers?
At Islamic Relief, alhamdulillah, in the different regions, so Cape Town, Johannesburg, and KwaZulu-Natal, we actually have volunteer coordinators.
Now, who is speaking to them?
The volunteer coordinators and...
that's it. Okay, stop here. Volunteer coordinator is a young man like them.
Yes.
Has not got the greatest experience of Islamic Relief. At some stage of attracting volunteers to come and work for you, you have to get the chair of the organization or the CEO of the organization to sit down with them, to mentor them, and to guide them and to tell them the story of the history of Islamic Relief in South Africa and the global history of Islamic Relief abroad. Here is, if the volunteer will go home saying that I've been sitting with the CEO or the head of the division or the chairman of the organization and they are respecting me very much, he will never actually leave you and run away from you as a volunteer. We employ a volunteer coordinator, could be a very good individual, male or female, which is good for us because he or she organizing the thing. But it is a duty on all the senior staff to mentor the volunteers. And it's a duty that we use the volunteer as future leaders. What do I mean by future leaders? These volunteers is coming to you as a young man or young woman. So you need to put at the back of their mind, one day, if you are trained rightly, if you are doing very well, you yourself will become the future leader of Islamic Relief in South Africa or globally. What I'm listening and talking to, when I was talking to brother Wasim Ahmed, who is the current CEO of Islamic Relief nowadays for the last 2 years, I met him in 2002 in Baluchistan in Pakistan, okay? And he was still a coordinator or project officer in this area. And when I asked him, what do you want to be? He said, I want to take your seat, your position in the organization. This does not threaten somebody like myself. At the time I was I was still the CEO of Islamic Relief. And now, after 20 years, Wasim Ahmed is the CEO of Islamic Relief. So he had a dream as a young officer that one day to take my job. And he took the job, alhamdulillah. So here, let the volunteers to feel that they are valued and they could rise in the rank of the organization to be the future leaders, not only of Islamic Relief, but of the community. Any other questions?
How do you know that what you're doing is the right thing? Like, how do you know if what you're doing is right?
What do you mean with what you're doing? This is a very big ask.
Like, for example, how do you know that you are doing the right thing in life? Like,
in life? Oh. In life, first of all, as a Muslims, you have to know what your religion is about. Okay? And as I mentioned to you earlier, and even in my speech yesterday in the mosque, yes, of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, Bunya al-Islam ala khams. Islam's foundation is 5 pillars. The 5 pillars of Islam are not Islam, are the foundation, which is the kalima, which is the fasting, Hajj, zakat, and prayer. Okay, this is the foundation. On top of this, Islam is asking you as a duty and the responsibility on you to construct a better life for people on this earth in different aspects of life. Go and engage with people. Go and learn and listen and be with people. Go and support and guide and advise people. Go and be with the good people, actually, so they can guide you to the right way. Go and remember Allah like anybody else does. Go and read Quran. Go and visit your family, your mother, your father, if you are not living with them anymore. Go and respect your neighbor. All this, when you engage yourself with all these activities, you definitely become the good Muslim that you want. And keep renewing your intention every day, and you tell yourself, why I am doing this? Why I'm doing it? Am I doing it for myself? Am I doing it for my family? Or am I doing it for Allah? Okay? So it's a test. It's a test, but many activities. Tfaddal.
What makes a good leader, or how do you become a good leader in society or in the world? How do you become a good leader? What makes a good leader?
A good leader is the leader who can listen, who can create a space for youngsters, who can be more inclusive in the bringing the different kind of community members to his organization, who is patient, who is hard worker, who is always learning from the community and from everyone else, and who is always actually taking seriously the criticism against him in his mistake or her mistake. This is a good leader. The good leader who allow a space for women and young people to be joining the organization, not just to make it a unisex organization or a monotonous religious one religious organization. Since we are in South Africa is a multi-religious, multi-faith, multicultural, multi-language organization, country, sorry. The spoken language in South Africa is 11, isn't it?
11,
okay.
yeah.
So when you are in South Africa and you would like to be this kind of leader, you have to be all inclusive in the management of your organization. You don't keep it for one group only, even if it's a Muslim organization, and you want it to lead a sector in the society or in the community. You should have a diverse executive group running it with you, because this represents South Africa. This is in the management way. You should not impose projects which could be funded from a foreign body, from an international organization, from United Nations, from ECHO, from all this kind of organization on the community. You should always ask the community their needs, and you should always design your projects according to the needs of the community, not according to your desire, your ideas, or your need. Because at the end of the day, you spend the money to serve the people, to help the people, to support the people, to guide the people. So always make this kind of consultation with the people themselves, so they can give you the ideas and they can give you the root cause of the problem. so you can find the solution for it.